Uh, Hello and welcome to Canada CPA Online Academy. So as the exam is approaching in a week's time, um, the question starts flowing, the anxiety, the stress gets increased. I understand all that, and it's perfectly fine, it's perfectly normal, but trust that you have practiced enough, start wrapping it up and start building that confidence that you are ready for the exam, you are going to do it. There is always going to be that time pressure, that something unknown is there, so be mentally prepared that you might not be able to complete everything as you have planned. There might be some unexpected things, untested areas, or areas that you are not comfortable at. Don't keep your focus on that side. Focus on what you know. So in this series now, I'm trying to explain or answer a few questions that I'm getting from the students repeatedly, so that it benefits to everyone. So the first question is more related to audit procedures, how to write it, because you are getting the comments that the audit, you're not able to get the C. And the main reason for not getting a C is the feedback is the procedure is generalized, it's not specific. So what is expected when they are saying that the procedure is generalized and not specific? So now remember, if you have experience working in audit, then this would be more clear. But if not, just imagine that you're actually doing something, okay? Like for repetitive procedures like revenue, purchases, inventory, um, keep a list ready of what you want to write in your procedures, and then modify it as per the case facts and as per the requirements of that case. But keep some general procedures ready in your head to go, like what if revenue needs to be determined for the completeness and the valuation on the revenue, the assertion that needs to be tested, then what should be the procedure that you should be listing down. So always remember, even though in feedback guide it lists the column only risk and procedures, all it is a good practice to write the assertion as well, so that the marker is clear that you have understood what you are testing that procedure for and what is your objective of your testing. And it doesn't have to be a lengthy description. So state the risk, state the assertion, and state the procedure in detail. Now, what do you mean by in detail? You don't have to write paras, you have to be specific. Now, what do I mean by specific? So suppose you're writing a procedure for revenue, okay? So take an example of not specific procedure. So you're writing, verify the sample of sales invoices to ascertain if the revenue is correctly recorded. This is a very generalized statement. Now imagine you're actually auditing. What would you, when you take a sales invoice and you're actually auditing your sales invoice to match your revenue, what are you checking? You're checking the rate, you're checking the quantity. Where are you checking the rate? You're checking that rate to some price list or some quotation or some purchase order, or somewhere you are referring that rate to. So mention that whatever is given. So here is where the case facts come in. So that is what they want to be specific, that what are you checking? Just check the sales invoice is not enough. What are you checking that? Then suppose there is a sales discount is given, and you're there is some problems with the discount. Then you can write just sales. The generalized procedure would be check the sales discount. The specific procedure would be check the invoices where sales discount is given. Verify if it was approved by someone, if it is above a threshold. Check the discount policy. If it is above, then that specific approval, if it was given. If it is in a system, check if it is if there is a, like say, login, and then there is an approval process, and then they check the log of the approvals. So then it becomes more specific procedures. Now usually there are like cutover processes. So like the year end processes for revenue. So give detail of the dates of the, like if they have a shipping um, cross check, and then so list down actually. So imagine that what I'm trying to say is, imagine you're actually auditing, and what would you do? What would you check? Like you would check that, you would check that rate, you would check that quantity, you would calculate that amount. So write that in specific details so that it becomes a detailed procedure. Now for some procedures, it would be very specific to the case as such. Like if there is an impairment, for say, for example, in a day two case, ASI case, there was a impairment of the asset. The lobster one was impaired. So now what you are checking, you should state your risk specifically, that you are checking the impairment of asset lobster one. Write down the name of that asset so that it brings in the case fact. Now, what is your risk? That the risk is that asset is overstated in the books. So what is your assertion? What you're checking? You're checking the valuation. And then the procedure should be in detail, very specific to that case fact. Don't just write generalize that to check if the asset is impaired. No. How will you check that impairment? So start with like appraisal, like verify the appraisal that is received from the dealer, and then check the fair value, check the validity of that estimate. Now, when there is a appraisal from the external party, then there would be some assumptions. So check those assumptions. So write those things like as if, imagine you're reading that document. What are you reading? You're reading what that assumptions, what that appraisal states. The appraisal mentions a certain risk, certain criteria. What are the assumptions? So validate those assumptions. Then is there any cost, other cost related to that involved in that? If it's a sale, then what are the additional costs that are required? If there is that there was a like a WACC rate calculation that was used in that discounting rate, calculate that rate, check if it is correct, if it covers the risks that are associated. So the rate that they have assumed, is it sufficient to cover the risk related to ASI? So the more specific you become, the more relevant that procedure becomes, and it's easier to reach to that level of C. Now, for any asset or any transaction, sometimes there is a procedure at that date of that occurrence, and there could be a year-end procedure. Like suppose for asset purchase, there would be a procedure at the purchase date, and then there would be what you can say, the depreciation policy, the schedule that you year-end schedule that would be prepared. So refer to the year-end procedures. So some like if there is an acquisition of a company, there would be some procedures at the acquisition date, and there would be some valuation procedures at the year end. So remember to mention both the procedures in your answer, and then it becomes more specific, and then you will move towards C. So hope that helps for writing your audit procedures. And I would try to make a more detailed video on some specific procedures and how to address them. And all the best. Keep sending me your questions, and I'll try to answer those in the next videos. Thank you.